I built a stack of American Flag cutting boards for the upcoming holidays and you can follow along. So, lass uns anfangen. For this project, I purchased walnut and cherry lumber, or should I say, I purchased bars of gold, because this is how I felt once I got the bill. I really can wait for lumber prices to go down again. Let's start by cutting the lumber into smaller pieces, so they're easier to work with. I'm using my miter saw to do so. I purchased most of my lumber rough cut, so I cleaned up the surface with my planer. I set my table saw to a width of 5 centimeters to rip the pieces to size lengthwise. Now it's time to glue up the pieces. I'm using Titebond 2, but you can also use Titebond 3. Apply the glue, spread the glue, put the pieces together and tighten the clamps. Then let it dry. Repeat the same steps for all the pieces. It is very difficult to glue up that many pieces of wood without having it a tiny bit uneven, so I will run it through the planer to make sure the pieces are super smooth. Before I do so, I used my chisel to take off any extra glue to go easy on the blades. So the plan is to build a flag out of 3 different parts. The upper left part has the stars and will be built out of walnut. The upper right part is the small part of the flag and consists out of 4 walnut and 4 cherry. The long lower part will consist out of 3 walnuts and 3 cherries. I will cut those pieces to size and glue them up individually before assembling the full flag. The miter saw does a great job for this. And those are all the pieces for the 10 different cutting boards. Here you can see the 3 different parts before glue up, the upper right part, the upper left part, and the long part below. While they are all in one clamp, I will not apply glue yet in between the 3 different parts. I'm just using the same clamp because I'm kinda limited on clamps. You ask why I'm doing this? Because it is very hard to get a crisp line in between the upper right and left part. So I'll glue them up individually and then cut the parts square before the final glue up. And those are the 3 different parts I was talking about. A lot of people say it is not a good idea to run end grade through a planer. However, I chamfer the end, and that helps to not have any tear out. I've been using this method for a very long time and I've never had any issues with it. I'm using my handheld router. Go little by little and always make sure you have a chamfer in the end. If the chamfer disappears, make sure you cut a new one. As you can see, there's 0 tear out. When you glue up the parts, you do not want any gaps in between, so I used my jointer to square up one edge. Spoiler alert, I guess the machine won't work without electricity. Now we can start. Run the piece over the blades a few times until the edge is square with the top. Once the edge is square, use that side along the fence of the miter saw to get another square edge. And here you can tell they will fit together perfectly. And it's time for the glue up. Apply the glue, spread the glue, put the pieces together and tighten the clamps. The glue has dried. Now it's time to run it through the planer for a last time. Bevel the edge, take off any excess glue with a chisel, and then run it through the planer. For a final cleanup, I'm using the table saw for the long edges and the miter saw for the short ones. Perfectly square. Yes! Yeah! This stack is ready for the stars. I'm using my CNC machine to get the perfect cuts. My workshop feels like an assembly line. I glued in the stars and used the Japanese pull saw to cut off the tops. Whew, that's a workout. And one more time because it's so much fun. I probably should wear a dust mask for this. To even out the stars, I'm using my belt sander. And you know what that means. Sanding dance! And it was just that easy to smoothen out the boards. I would like to add some handles for easy pickup that I will cut by using my handheld router. To do so, I made a template out of some wood and glue. And that's how the handle looks like. Ugh, look at all this dirt. Luckily, I have a very powerful dust deputy. And now to a very satisfying shot. I love a clean workshop. I would like to have professional looking edges. Therefore, I'm using my handheld router to chamfer the edges. Once all the boards are done, it's time to sand. I started at 100 grit and worked my way up to 400. Time to have fun! Hold on, this wall looks kinda boring. I got an idea. What might it be? Skullbliss has sent me this impressive hand-carved skull that would make a perfect fit to my wall. Very nice. But I want bigger. What else is in this box? Wow, look at this gorgeous piece of art. That's much better. Let's keep sanding. Actually, I think I want bigger. Did I ever talk about one of my biggest dreams is to own a small farm one day? Now that's what I'm talking about. I mean, all of them were gorgeous. But what do they say in Texas? The bigger, the better. What I love most about it, these skulls are ethically sourced, as they are a byproduct from the Balinese agriculture industry and would have ended up as a waste product. Instead, they are made into unique artwork. Now, let's finish sanding. And And the boards are super smooth.
Sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion.
As a last step, let's spray some water onto the board to raise the grain, and then let's sand it briefly one more time, once it's dry. Alright, that should be enough. Now we are the best part. The finish. Like always, I'm using Mica-made liquid hydration. Since I have a large stack of boards, I decided to give the boards a bath instead of just wiping on the product. It's quicker. It's always so beautiful to see the project come to life. I love how the grain pops. Let the boards have as much oil as they like as they soak in overnight. The next day, it's time for Mousse Magousse wood butter. Just apply a small amount with a lint-free cloth in circular motion. Let it dry and come back to buff. Then it's time to attach the legs. Make sure you pre-drill all the holes. And we are fertig! The boards are made. You can find in my online store. The details are in the description below. Sometimes the sound, the video, or the lighting sucks, but please bear with me. I create, build, film, and edit all by myself, and sometimes it's a lot to stay on top of. I do my best and become better with every video. Thank you for sticking around. Tschüss!